What is going on, everybody? We are back. I am back. First time since Friday. I'm just pumped to be talking baseball. Live stream was fun last night. Now we've got the normal early morning show. Jake, haven't talked to you in forever. How's it going?
It's good. It's good to have you back. Good to not be talking to myself and the chat. Although we did have a couple pretty good morning streams, so
Good.
I was impressed with what the chat brought. So thank you guys.
Thanks,
if you're
chat.
in here once again, made it easier for me. And yeah, we're excited to have your spreadsheets back and your entertainment.
Speaking of spreadsheets, go ahead and share that. There we go. Yeah, it feels good to talk about baseball. I was just trapped in a sea of watching ESPN over and over again while I was at my parents' house, so it was pretty awful. It's the same thing over and over and over again. Ugh, hated it. Hated it. 9 games today. A little bit of weather as per usual at this point. I'm a little sick of talking about the weather. Little wet in Philly, little wet in Washington. Royals, White Sox should be fine. Damn, East Coast is just getting slammed, man.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
It really is.
And then in September, it'll just start getting cold. We'll have 50-degree games. It's just gonna be terrible.
Can't wait. September, perfect weather in Wilmington. Can't be.
You're gonna have 7 guys making their debut every night.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Early ownership just got posted, so I assume we're going to see main slate ownership in a second. But I think we can go ahead and dive in if you're ready.
Yeah, let's dive in.
Alrighty. First game up. Feels good to say that. Marlins and Phillies. Marlins 3.8 run implied total. Phillies 5. It's a 63% chance to win for the Phillies. Pablo Lopez, supposed to go yesterday, now going today, pitching for Miami. Nick Pivetta going for Philadelphia. I've got a ton of Pivetta right now. Assuming that he's going to be a little chalky once ownership gets posted, but he's a guy that I'm loading up on quite a bit. I like that $8,500 price point. And he's kind of in no man's land. You know, Bumgarner, the closest guy above him, $1,100 more. Chacin, $500 less. And then there's not anybody until Mike Montgomery. So Pivetta just works from a lineup construction spot because by all accounts, he's the only guy for $2,600. I don't think anybody really wants Chacin. So I think Pivetta is going to be pretty popular here, especially against the Miami team, who not really the most exciting lineup, I guess is probably the best way to say it. So what do you think about Pivetta?
Yeah, I love him. He's chalky. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He might be the chalkiest pitcher on the slate. Underpriced, coming off a 12 strikeout game, going up against the Marlins team with little to be worried about. A bunch of righties in there too. Pitcher spot. He's just dominating righties, over 30% K rate, 50% ground balls, xFIP well under 3. He's a really good pitcher, and he shouldn't be only 8,500 in this spot as a minus 180 favorite.
Yeah, it's crazy. I got 31% of him on DK, and I'm perfectly I'm fine with that. I expect him to be, I don't want to say right there, but probably high mid-20s if I had to guess, just because of where his salary lands. You don't really see gaps in salary like that all that often, but
I mean, he's a 10, 11K pitcher in the spot. I honestly believe that.
I don't have a problem saying that. Yeah.
He's just clearly underpriced for no reason at all.
Yeah, I have him 0.2 of a point behind Fulte for today, and that's a gap of $2,000.
Yeah. It's that's where you should be priced at, I think.
Yeah.
10, 5, 11, something like that. It's too good of a spot.
Yeah, I don't. That's just weird. Oh, I mean, fine by me. I'm gonna have a lot of Pivetta, so I don't mind. Bats wise, though, I assumed that I would like the Phillies here, but man, they're overpriced.
Yeah, and Pablo Lopez is actually pretty good. One thing that's sticking out to me for Lopez is his chase rate, 38%. like 30-ish is around average, and he's at 38 in 5 starts. Doing this against like lefty heavy teams like the Mets, the Nationals, the Brewers obviously have some more lefty power they just added. Tampa, like Nationals again, he's getting a lot of chases, and the swinging strikes are above 10%. So I like to see that. He's getting a lot of first pitch strikes. I like Lopez a lot for 5,700. I'm hoping people aren't going to be on him because I certainly will be.
Ooh, okay, we could talk about that because I am not on him at all.
Okay.
Ownership is out.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see if people are on Lopez, or we expect people to be on Lopez.
A little bit, but not much. Everybody's on Jason Vargas, which is what I kind of expected.
Oh my! Yeah, I'll take Lopez.
Yeah, so I have a ton of Jason Vargas as well. Pivetta, chalky at 25%. All of these numbers are lining up pretty close to what I've got going here. Only guy that I'm crazy heavy on that public is not is Mike Montgomery. So that'll be an interesting chat. And that could all just be because I've got too low of a game total that's not out yet. I assume that'll drop some point in time during the show like it normally does.
Yeah.
But wind looked to be blowing in Chicago. It didn't look to be a particularly like super hitting weather game. So unless I'm super off, I'm going to like having a bit of Mike Montgomery, but we'll get there. Yeah, I don't love... A 5-run implied total is probably what's slowing me down for Lopez.
Yeah, it's tough. That probably has a lot to do with the Marlins bullpen too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 5,700, and I think the strikeouts will be there. Philadelphia strikes out the third most against righties this season, over 25%. And that chase rate, I just can't ignore that for a guy at 5,700. So pitching is slim today. Once you get past Pivetta, there's very few options I want to use. And Lopez has been impressive despite allowing a bunch of runs. He's run into some tough matchups and gone over 100 pitches a couple times, 97, 89. So 5,700, I think he's a pretty good gamble.
Phillies are super chalky. Third most owned team on DraftKings.
Well, even better.
Yeah, so I'm not on them at all, and I don't plan to be on them. I think that's a nice spot for me to differentiate. While they have a really good implied total, I don't like their price point. And if they're going to be chalky and I don't like their price point, then I won't get to them. If they weren't going to be chalky, it's a different story. And it's a decent like pay up to be different option, but I don't want to pay up into something that I don't like anyway. So for me, everything in this game is basically just Pivetta. And I'm right with the field at 31, and they were projecting 25.
Okay. So are you going to get Lopez in there? I missed that.
Oh, I don't think so.
Are you going to try to play some of them? No.
I have 1% on DK. Like, he might pop up sparingly, but I'm going down even further than that. I've got a little bit of Robbie Erlin and then a lot of bit of Jason Vargas.
Gotcha.
Not that I love Jason Vargas, but at 4,100, I have a lot of Scherzer.
Price, right? So. Yeah. Do you want to go over the early slate at the end? Are you going to play it? I don't know if I'm going to play it, but I did load it up, so
I'm not playing it, but we could talk about it at the end.
Yeah, we could talk about it briefly at the end.
Yeah, I didn't take a look at it. I got to ease my way back in there. I couldn't dive into a 3-game early slate today. My mind wouldn't have been ready for it.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all.
Got to get back into the flow of like thinking about this stuff. Even just doing the live stream last night, I felt myself stumbling on the words that normally just flow out because I was just out of rhythm.
Yeah.
Or even just
Muscle
reading
memory.
off the runs and stuff. I didn't have it. It's been too long. Any bats at all in here that you would like to focus on? Besides 4, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I would like to leverage off a pitcher that's going to be chalky, but I honestly think I'm going to be overweight on Pivetta, and I don't see any of these guys with a good matchup. So if you want to just go with the full stack against Pivetta, that's what I would advocate for if you're fading him, because we've seen him, when he loses it, he loses it.
There it
and he
goes.
just loses control. And so I think you're going to know pretty quick how the start's going to go with Pivetta. So if you fade him, I would take a couple of these bats that are decent. I don't think they have good matchups, but if Pivetta doesn't have it, he could blow up. We've seen it happen a number of times this year.
No, it's an interesting day when the first thing I hear is, and a lot of Jason Vargas. Yeah,
TM
4,100, man, I'd take myself if I'm at that price.
Right? I mean, just the ability to go 90 pitches. If you're 4,100 and you're not going up against the Yankees or something, like the Red Sox, like you got to be at least in play.
Yeah.
You just shouldn't price pitchers
You need
like that.
so little from him to be a value.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Like, I think they price pitchers in that area too low, and it would mix up roster construction if they brought guys out of that particular range, made like 5,000 sort of the floor.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, 5,500 I think should be like the floor.
Yeah, because if that was the case, you would see a lot more ownership to like the mid-tier guys because things wouldn't work the same way. Whereas now it's just, if you want Scherzer, you can just throw in Jason Vargas and not care.
You can basically have any teams, like besides maybe the Red Sox. I'm pretty sure you could go Scherzer, Vargas, full game stack, like 50 different ways of Baltimore, Texas in the highest total game. So it's just too easy when you price pitchers like that. Regardless, even if Vargas gets you 5 points, he's still not going to kill you.
Right. I'm with you. I mean, I'm really surprised that the Phillies are as chalky as they are, but that 5-run implied total is what's driving it. I'd be shocked if I get to them at all with any sort of volume. They just grade out as like a very similar team to a couple other squads, so they're just not super cost efficient for me. Fine by me. I love when I can be naturally different on a thing that I don't particularly like in general.
Yep. Yeah.
With that said, I'm sure the Phillies are going to blow up.
All in Pablo Lopez, all in Pivetta.
There you go. I don't know why I'm bringing that up. Okay, there we go. Moving on. Reds and Nats. Reds, 3-run implied total. Nats, 5. 72% chance to win for the Nats. Tyler Mahle going for Cincinnati. Max Scherzer going for Washington. I have a ton of Scherzer. He's the chalk pitcher of the day. 42% ownership on DK. 43% ownership on FanDuel. I'm in the mid-30s on both sites. So I'll be in and around the field. Hard for me to ignore them. That Reds lineup is just not great. Now, it's not a lot of swing and miss. There's nobody that's like an extreme problem. Phillip Ervin, Billy Hamilton, Suarez, those are guys that strike out a little bit more than average, but nothing crazy. So while it's not the best strikeout matchup, that's not like a huge concern for me when it's Scherzer. He kind of transcends strikeout matchups. If he's going to have a 12K per 9 projection from Steamer, I'll take my chances. I've got Scherzer projected for 8.8 Ks. That's 1.4 more than Kershaw, who's second. So I'm loading up on Scherzer. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I can get 2 separate pitchers in the 4s. So I can't avoid it. Where are you landing on Scherzer? Are you going to go up to 13 for him?
I will have a little bit of him, but not 42%. Like you said, it's a kind of tough strikeout matchup on a team level. But it's Scherzer. We've seen Bauer mow this team down in like 7 innings, put up double-digit strikeouts, so it can be done. And Scherzer's coming off a really good start, so you'd like to see that. After I thought he maybe wasn't right the past couple starts, but he just blew the Marlins out of the water after struggling against them a few starts ago. So good to see there from Scherzer. I'm certainly not looking to play any Reds bats against him. I think the real talking point here is how much Tyler Mahle are you gonna, or how much Nats bats you're gonna have against Mahle?
A lot on DK. So they're my number 5 stack on DraftKings. They're my number 3 stack on FanDuel. I'm over the field on both. We're barely projecting ownership to them on
I know.
DraftKings. They're only
That's what I
5
saw. Isn't that
5%
weird?
aggregate. Yeah.
That's super weird. And just look at Molly's numbers against lefties. He can strike some of them out. 193 whip, 25% line drive rate, 47% fly ball rate, 543 xFIP, and then my personal favorite, 45% hard contact, going up against probably 5, 6, 7 lefties maybe. And then you get Turner, Rendon in there.
Yeah.
I don't know how Molly's been at preventing steals. That's something I should look at. But yeah, just a really awesome matchup for these lefties. And then you can play Trey Turner whenever you want, in my opinion, as well as Anthony Rendon. So I love this Nat stack. I think they're my favorite on the night. I thought they were going to be the overwhelming chalk.
Not even close. That's the craziest part of it all. 16% aggregate ownership for the Orioles, 15% aggregate ownership for the Rangers, 5% for the Nats. So 3 times the ownership to those teams. I love it. I've got 8% more than the field on DraftKings. Couldn't be happier with it. And I'm still neutral with the Orioles and Rangers. So I like planting my flag on Nats Island, although that shouldn't be super shocking considering I plant my flag on that island almost every day.
I know. It seems like we both are on them every single day. And they're just like perpetually unowned.
Yeah, it blows my mind. There's so much raw talent on this team. 7 of the 8 projected hitters in this lineup have a weighted runs created plus from Steamer above 100. Actually, above 110. The only guy that projects as a below average hitter is Matt Wieters, and that's not exactly like a huge problem when it's a catcher.
And you look at like Daniel Murphy now too. If he's going to start hitting,
yeah,
this lineup is disgustingly good.
Only guy that I'm kind of avoiding is Juan Soto on DK. And it's not so much that I'm avoiding him, but $5,300 is expensive. If it's only $100 more to Harper, or you can drop down $500 and get Eaton leading off, it's just like a more efficient way to spend the cash at an outfield position. But it's not like I don't think he's a perfect GPP play. It's not like he doesn't have light tower power.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm going to be paying up for bats because I'm avoiding Scherzer for the most, or not intentionally avoiding Scherzer, but as you guys saw the last couple of days, my model prioritizes hitters. So the pitchers go in last for the most part, unless they're a crazy good value. So I'll have a lot of Nats and these expensive bats, and I won't get to as much Scherzer as a result.
I've got them both.
Can you do that? Can you have? I guess you can with Vargas.
I've got 37% Scherzer, and the Nats are, one of my top stacks on both sides. So,
Okay.
yeah, I got them a lot. I don't know how much I'll have them together, but I guess it's probably quite a bit. I guess we'll see that on the crunches. Yeah, that's right. We're doing. Oh, congratulations, by the way. You and Chris, part of the Fantasy Cruncher team now. We can say it out loud.
Yeah, that was cool. It was just we were in chat one day, and Tom was like, Tom came in chat. He also gave him a discount code. Someone asked. Did you hear about that?
I did.
Yeah, that was pretty cool too. So Tom's like, "Oh, here's 10% off for the annual if you use it today."
Yeah.
We got a bunch of people to sign up. It was pretty sweet. Got Fantasy Cruncher. It was a good start to the week.
Exciting stuff. When I saw the message from Tom while we were in Slack, like it just popped up on my phone. I was like, "There we go. Now we can talk about it." Fantasy Cruncher, handing it out to the people.
Yeah.
So I learned something. This is completely off topic. Well, not off topic, but I learned something today, and I felt like the biggest moron in the world. So I was always pasting my entire player pool into Fantasy Cruncher and just pasting over zeros for guys that I wasn't projecting in the lineup. I never realized that I could unselect all the guys that I didn't paste a projection in from. Like, I didn't know there was a button that said My Projections.
I literally just did that like 5 minutes ago. Yeah. I was like, "Oh, what does this button do?" And it got all the guys I didn't project out of there.
Like, I never thought, like, for basketball, basically everybody has a projection. Like, everybody's going to get something. So I don't need to do that. And normally I was just, like, I wonder if that was slowing Fantasy Cruncher down for me by having an extra 100 guys of zero that it looks at.
Oh, yeah. That could have been it.
So, yay me for learning something for the first time after using a product for 5 years.
Yeah, I was just like playing around with it, trying to see what each different function did, trying to like get the stacks going, all this stuff. But it's a cool tool. I don't know. I'm pretty pumped about it. It looks nice too. Some of these other optimizers, they do kind of the same thing, but it looks so much better on this fancy cruncher.
Yeah. T McB, is the green section on your team page the straight steamer ROS number or the Gress platoon split? So this is just the raw information. It's from the steamer. It's the steamer update per 600 plate appearances. So basically, it's a new steamer projection every day. Obviously, it's not changing all that often, but the one that I do is the one that shows everybody on a per 600 plate appearance basis. So that's all it is. It has nothing to do. None of these 3 columns have anything to do with handedness. That is taken in the back, but I just like having this stuff here as like a general guidepost for how good is a guy, how much power does he have, does he strike out a lot. The handedness isn't a huge deal for me, just in the visual. That's all. So moral of the story here, pound the Nats, especially because people aren't.
Yes.
I like it. It's a good story. Cody Leach, do we sell our projections? No, we do not. Aaron D, I know. I really need to slow down on Cruncher a little bit and point things out a little bit more. But look, I'm learning things on my own, accidentally. Clicked on that button, didn't even notice it. And I was like, oh, I can stop pasting in 175 zeros. I'm a moron.
Yeah, I've just been playing around for a couple minutes every single day, just trying to get the feel for it. And I've run like probably 100 crunches since I've gotten it, just to try to get it to spit out kind of what I want. So
yeah, the lineup rewind is like the best feature. You don't even have to have a Fantasy Cruncher a membership to use it. Go on there and crunch it out, look at tournament results, and try to get an idea of how to use the product and like how to do what you want it to do. Super valuable tool that people don't use nearly enough. Moving on. I guess we kind of touched on it right out of the gate. But these first 2 games are going to have some weather concerns. Philly in particular, I would have, as of right now, looks like it's probably going to have a late start. But both of these games are going to be a little wet.
Yeah.
You want to pay attention to them, and you want to make sure that things look a little different. I don't love, like, we're never going to talk about games and say we're not looking at this at all unless it's 100% across the board for 6 hours and they're getting a hurricane. You want to pay attention to that stuff near lock.
We did do that when it was snowstorm here earlier in the season for the Twins. The whole series got rained out or snowed out. That was fun. I don't think we talked about it then, but
right.
Extenuating circumstances.
Yeah. If it's just like, oh, it looks like there's going to be a decent chance of rain, we're going to talk about games as if they're playing. Otherwise, what's the point? Moving on to the Atlanta Braves. What up, Braves? New home, Kevin Gausman. Not pitching today, but I was pretty excited about that trade.
What?
I was pretty excited about that trade.
Him throwing to Tyler Flowers, best pitch framer in the MLB. That's exactly what he needs too. It's pretty fun for Gausman. Really good pickup by your Braves.
Getting a young guy with a bunch of team control remaining, like that's if you're going to cash in.
Oh, they have him? I thought he was a rental.
No, he's not. I think he's under contract like for at least 2 more years.
Whoa.
Let me double check it, but I'm almost positive.
I think Gausman's a stud. In Baltimore is a garbage organization.
I think it's
lineup rewind too. That's great as well. Agreed, Earl.
All right. Gausman's contract. Yeah, he's got 2 more years of arbitration left.
I don't know exactly what that means.
He's under Braves team control for at least 2 more years. He's making 5.6 this year.
Okay.
He'll probably jump to somewhere in like the 7 to 8 range, if I had to guess. and then probably somewhere in like the $10 million range, which
I think that's a pretty good contract.
yeah, you'll take that
especially if he turns into
that.
Like he's been good in Baltimore the last year and a half, but
yeah, even just like having the consistency of him filling the rotation is perfectly like what you're looking for. I was super happy that it happened. Anyway, not that that matters very much here. Braves 4.8 run implied total, Mets 3.8. It's a 60% chance to win for the Braves. Ooh. I gotta pause this again. Tom in the chat. We're working with Fantasy Cruncher to get an Awesemo version out before NFL. Gonna have some info and features unique to us. Guys, it's happening. It's slowly happening.
You guys better get that annual premium too. Tom said it's going up in price before the start of the season by like $200. So he said that the other day in chat. There's also a showdown slate for NFL tonight.
Yeah, not happening there.
If you guys want to degen that.
And remember, guys, we've only been open as a company with non-Tom, Alex, and Eddie employees for a couple months. We're on the ground floor, people. This thing's going to blow up. I can feel it in my bones and my plums. Bolton Evich going for Atlanta. Jason Vargas, my man today, going for the Mets. I'm all over the place here. So, obviously, Jason Vargas not in play whatsoever on FanDuel. That's not how FanDuel pitching works. Jason Vargas on DraftKings, however, I've got 29%. We've got him projected for 24. He's just sort of a guy you need if you want to pay up for pitching. Similarly, I basically don't have any Fulte on DK, but I do have 13% of him on FanDuel. So my pitching is flip-flopped on both sites. Go Fulte on FanDuel, go Jason Vargas on DraftKings. Talk to me about what you're thinking here, because I'm all over the map.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Vargas a little bit. He's just too cheap for a starting pitcher, especially on a slate that sucks. So Lopez is going to be the guy I pivot to. I'm not a Robbie Erlin guy. I don't think Erlin's going to go deep enough. Vargas threw 80-some pitches in his last start. So, if things go okay for Vargas, he should be able to get you 8, 10, maybe upwards of 15 points. It's not a great matchup for Vargas, so he easily could get blown up, and that's why I like the Braves stack against him, because I just love stacking against these cheap pitchers that are chalk just for their price. He's not chalk because he's a great pitcher. He's chalk because he's 4,100 and people want to play Scherzer, which is fine. I get the play, but I'm on the Braves, Acuna, Albies especially. And then Vargas struggles against lefties too. If you look at his lefty splits, a bunch of hard contact. His xFIP is higher against lefties. And Freeman and Markakis both grade out as very good hitters, lefty-lefty for me. You've got Suzuki and Camargo behind them, both over 120 WRC pluses. They're not striking out, so they're going to put the ball in play against Vargas. I think that's pretty certain. And these guys hit the ball hard, and Vargas gives up a lot of hard contact.
Yeah, look, do I think Jason Vargas is going to have a big day? Nah, I certainly don't. In fact, let's talk about it here. Yeah. This is the reason that I end up with someone like Jason Vargas. I'll hop over to my sim. Do I have that in any of these? No, I don't. All right, so what would you say is, I'll take it from Jason Vargas today? What's a good total amount that you'd be like, that'll work?
If he gets you 10 points, I think you're set, right? He's worth it if he gets you 10 points.
I think that's a perfect baseline. I have Jason Vargas scoring 10 points 57% of the time. Even if we think that's a ridiculous proposition and it's 40%, if I lump 17 full percent off of my model and I say that he gets to 10 points 40% of the time, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I've got him projected for 11, and I think that's a good spot, and that you'll crush it. We're not even talking about the times where he gets you 20, on a random night, and all of a sudden you got 20 from $4,000 at pitching.
Right. If he gets you 20, you're going to need him to compete in GPPs.
Yeah.
You just are. If he goes 5 times his salary, you're in trouble if you faded him.
Exactly. So that's how you end up with someone like Jason Vargas with this amount of ownership, especially when you've got Scherzer at 13, Kershaw 11.6, Greinke 11.2.
Yeah.
It opens up a lot of doors for you hitting wise. And it's more of an options thing. By taking a cheaper guy like Vargas, it's not so much that you are strictly paying up for more expensive bats. You just have the opportunity to pay for better hitters more often. And by all accounts, the guys that are higher priced as a hitter are better. So you're just giving yourself more bites at a better apple. None of that makes sense. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
I love that.
First time doing this in almost a week. I'm brain dead. I got nothing. Anyway, tons of Vargas on DK for me. Here's the one that I'm a little surprised with. I have the Mets as my 6th best stack on DraftKings. I have a ton of Ahmed Rosario and a ton of Wilmer Flores.
Really?
Yeah. 2,800. Like, this could change dramatically if this order shifts. Ahmed Rosario is 2,800 and leading off on DraftKings, which is, I mean, you don't ever see that. Ever. So he's a little chalky as well. And then Wilmer Flores, similar scenario. Dual eligibility first and third. Only 3,200 and hitting third. These guys are just a matter of circumstance. So they've got 3 guys that have dual eligibility. First and third. Third and outfield. Second and third. So they're just really easy to like mix and match. If this lineup comes out similar to this, I'll have those guys quite a bit. But if there's any sort of shakeup, they could go from super owned for me to not owned. Like if Ahmed Rosario drops to 8th in the lineup, I probably won't have him at all.
Okay. I think that's fair. I like Fulte a little bit here for 10.5. Like I said, I'm limiting my Scherzer exposure. And Fulte grades out as a okay value for me. And he's in this price, like 10K, 11K pricing tier. So that's where I want to get my expensive pitchers. The Mets are a terrible team, even though they don't strike out a ton. Is Austin Jackson going to be in this lineup for the Mets? Okay,
that's what I have.
Even better. Yeah, he's awful against righties. Strikes out a ton. Plawecki strikes out a bunch as well. Bautista 28% against righties this year. Nimmo 27%. So it's not like Fulte can't rack up strikeouts. He's got a 28% K rate on the season. I mean, he's been capable of big starts, and as a full run favorite in New York, decent pitcher's park. I know the wind's blowing out, but yeah, I'm in on Fulte here. So
yeah,
I like him. I'm not really on the Mets bats, especially not the chalky ones like Rosario and Flores, since I'm going elsewhere and I don't think I'll need them.
Nah, I get that. So like Rosario and Flores are basically the perfect 2-man combo to go with my 5-man stacks. To get either a first baseman, third baseman at cheap, a shortstop at cheap. It's giving me a lot more opportunities to have a 5-man Red Sox stack, basically.
Okay, that's a good reason to want to play those guys then.
Yeah, the Mets are the Mets are in a position where you're rostering them because their price is shit, even though they're shit. Rosario, Flores, Jason Vargas. I'm only taking these guys because, like, they basically like free squares to get better people. And in baseball, anybody can get a hit. So,
right.
T McBee, the 10-second description of what's happening on that tab is exactly what you just described. 4,000 game sims of a player's projection and standard deviation. Nailed it on the dot.
Someone's asking, Aaron D's asking Vargas hard contact rate for the season. In total, it's 37.5%.
A little above average.
Yeah. Thanks for the Cole Hamels call. Yeah, I think we were both on that one, right?
Yeah, I had a ton of Hamels last night.
Yeah, me too. He was my most exposed pitcher.
I had like 40% or something along those lines. Hey, that got me back to neutral.
All that Weaver chalk that you ate. You offset it a little bit.
Not a good one for Weaver. He was great for me right before I left. I had a ton of him whatever day that was, Thursday or Friday, when he went last week.
That was against the Cubs, right?
That sounds right to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever it was, it put me at the top of the leaderboards. That's all that matters. Braves bats. I've got a little bit more than the field on both sites, but nothing I'm getting too wild about. I don't have, like, I like having some of them on DraftKings just because of the high Vargas exposure. That's basically it.
Duvall in there too. I forgot about him.
Oh, yeah, I forgot they picked him
Like
up
that.
at
Yeah.
the deadline. I like that pickup.
Yeah.
We all know he can rake against lefties, that's for sure.
That he can.
Moving on. Yankees Red Sox, everybody's favorite series. Yankees 4.9 run implied total. Red Sox 5.0. 52% chance to win for the Sox. CC Sabathia going for New York. Brian Johnson going for Boston. Here we go again. Not a game for pitching for me. Sabathia not grading out all that well. Both of these teams have pretty sizable implied totals, so I'm skipping the pitching here. This is all bats. I love both of these teams. Red Sox are my number 3 stack overall. Yankees number 5. They're barely owned. 6% aggregate ownership for the Yankees on DK. Same for the Red Sox. I've got more than double both of these teams. I'm loading up. I don't know why. Like this is the spot to pay up for bats. I love almost everything in this game. Am I crazy?
No, I don't know where the ownership's going for hitters. If it's not going here, I guess Texas, right?
I have a
That
ton
game's
of
chalky.
the Orioles and Rangers game as well.
Yeah. So that one's whoa. All right, I just looked at that now. So those two teams are crazy chalk.
They're,
So
they're
that's where
3
the
times
ownership-
every other team in terms of
Yeah.
exposure.
So it's just a logical play for me to go to teams that I know are good and have deep lineups and stuff. Sabathia is very good against lefties, so I'm not looking to go to like Benintendi and Holt very much, or Jackie Bradley. But the good hitters, the great hitters, Betts, JD, you've got Steve Pearce and Kinsler in there. Those 4 guys I love against CC. Wind blowing out here in Yankee Stadium, in Fenway Park. So I don't think Sabathia's got a great chance to last long here. And then on the other side, the Yankees have been the best team against lefties for the season, just crushing them. Highest WRC plus, highest ISO.
227 ISO against lefties.
Ridiculous.
Oh my
Ridiculous.
God. It's the highest. It's the highest ISO against the hand today by who's next? Dodgers at 193. So 34 points of ISO ahead of that. Whew.
Yeah. Well, Stanton. All right. So these were updated last night, so they might be a little bit different. Stanton 381, Hicks 333 ISOs, Gleiber over 300, Andujar 268. You got Greg Bird almost 200. Like I love Gleiber in this spot. Absolutely love him. Andujar as well. Obviously Stanton. So I love this game. It'll last like 7 hours. It'll be probably in the 6th inning when that LA game and Arizona and Seattle games are done.
One of those games where you could take the Yankees and Red Sox at 7 o'clock and they're still the late night hammer.
Yeah, you'll have all the PMR. Yeah, you'll have all the PMR or what is it? PIR, player innings remaining. So enjoy your late night hammer at 7 Eastern.
Yeah.
I just love both sides. Not really interested in either pitcher.
We're on the same page here. I'm loading up on these bats. I have so much Stanton right now. It's insane. Sucks that the Judge doesn't get a part of this lefty mashing.
I know.
But I like almost everybody here. I'm even getting some of like Gardner and Gregorius. Like we're projecting Gregorius with 1% ownership on FanDuel. He's a $3,800 shortstop. I don't care that it's lefty-lefty. It's still a guy hitting third in a 4.9 run implied total game. I'll take my chances. Is there anything you don't like?
Benintendi.
Yeah.
I think he's got a decent ISO against lefties, but I don't understand. Like he's got a a below average WRC plus. Doesn't hit the ball hard against them. And then you look at CC's numbers against lefties, and he's just impressive against them. He has been for his whole career. Pretty shut down. 23% K rate, 117 whip, 55% ground ball, and then 17.7% hard contact this season against lefties. So
that's nothing.
Yeah, like I will say if I had to go to a pitcher in this game, I think it would be CC just because he's got some breaks if they have Holt in there. Just like that veteran presence. I don't think Brian Johnson has a chance to last long at all. But yeah, neither of these guys I'm looking to play.
Couldn't agree more. I love Steve Pearce here.
Yeah.
If he's in the lineup, which I don't think we're projecting him to be in there now from an ownership perspective, but I've got 20+% of him on both sites. It's going to be hard to find a matchup better than that.
Yep. Love Steve Pearce.
Yeah, I love having a ton of this game. I just pray that the ownership stays where it's at because I want to be 2+ times the field on both of these teams. Like I'll be really happy if I can do that by the time we get to lock.
Okay. I'll be right there with you.
Yeah. Time to talk chalk. Orioles and Rangers. Orioles 4.9 run implied total. Rangers 5.6. 57% chance to win for the Rangers. Andrew Kashner going for Baltimore. Giovanni Gallardo going for Texas. All I want is pitching here, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, not so much. This is all hitting, as evidenced by this is some of the highest numbers of chalk I've seen. We have the Rangers at 27% aggregate ownership on FanDuel on a 9-game slate. We have the Rangers Orioles at 15%. Next closest team, the Nats at 9%. On DK, both teams are at either 15 or 16%. Nobody close. Next closest team, the Phillies at 8%. So I'm right there with that ownership on DraftKings, but I also have less spread to some of the rest of the teams. I won't be anywhere near 27% for the Rangers on FanDuel. I think that's a preposterous amount, no matter how bad I think Andrew Kashner is. I'll have a lot of them, but I'm not going crazy. Like 49% Joey Gallo, 48% 48% Chu, 40% Beltre. These are some of the numbers on FanDuel. Crazy ownership. Jonathan Villar was not in, or VR, I guess, was not on Fantasy Cruncher when I did my original crunches. We're projecting roughly 30% ownership on both sites. I'll be there for that, but if you're seeing a 0, it's because his name wasn't in the player pool at the time. Everything's in play here. I just don't want to be at 27% on FanDuel, but it's hard to. You can't just full fade this game. You just don't want. You might not just want to have all of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of lineups where I have full fade, just because, like, these are two teams in good spots, but they're still bad teams, right? So if they're gonna be double the ownership of teams we know are good and have a ton of good hitters, I'm just I'm not playing two bad teams at crazy chalk. Two veteran pitchers on the mound. Not saying these guys are good, but maybe they don't get blown up as much as you'd think. So I'm just hoping this game stays somewhat quiet. You know, if it's 5-5, I think the fade is warranted. As long as it's not solo home runs on each side or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have some slight interest in Gallardo just because he's cheap. Yeah, he's cheap. He's favored. He can go 100 pitches. He's going to throw strikes. And these Orioles hitters are garbage against righties. So I don't know the strikeouts will be there, but Baltimore can make you look really good really fast. So he would be the guy I go to if I'm playing one of these pitchers. That being said, I will have probably like 5% Gallardo. It's not going to be like a staple of my lineups.
Yeah. The problem here is that they're just so cheap. Like, Adam Jones is the most expensive hitter on the Orioles at $3,200 on FanDuel. Everybody's in the twos. Similarly, like Elvis Andrus is the most expensive hitter for the Rangers. All the lefty, like Chu is sub 3,000. Gallo is 2,700. Even Adrian Beltre is 2,700. They're hard to avoid because they're just, the pricing is just insane. I like having a bit of them, but I like being under the field on that 27% number. It's hard to avoid. Like the Rangers on DK, there's a clear line below Gallo. All of the ownership is in the first 5 guys, as it should be.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is gonna be a crazy game. Like everything is just in the hitting favor. 93 degrees, pitchers park, terrible pitchers, or hitters park rather, terrible pitchers. What do you do?
Right? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't touch on it in the Yankees-Boston game. 85 degrees, 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing dead center.
Yeah, that's the game I want to go to. 2 good teams. I know the Yankees have a really good bullpen and the Red Sox have a good bullpen as well, but you might not see the best arms coming out of one of these bullpens. So one of these teams could go nuts in that weather. Way more good hitters.
Demetrius Mack with an interesting take that's not at all correct. Machado is overrated.
Okay.
Not going to get on that train.
Yeah. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, but yeah, whatever.
I think you're on a bit of an island there, Demetrius. Is there anybody in this game that you're interested in that doesn't look to be getting a ton of ownership?
I mean, the bottom of this Rangers lineup for DK, we're talking about, Guzman's a good hitter, or at least he's okay. I don't think he should be half the ownership of some of these other guys up top.
Sure.
So Guzman, maybe Chirinos just has big power. He's got a strikeout issue, but Cashner will let you put the ball in play. So those 2 guys, I think 6 and 7 in the Texas lineup.
Sean V. It is weird that the Orioles are all of a sudden an offensive machine without Machado. Do you know what that's called? Randomness.
Yeah.
As if one batter that's good is affecting the other 8 in a negative manner. That's not how life works. Yeah, that is just either the Orioles are playing the way that they should have been playing, or it's random.
Variance.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with Machado. Unless Machado is like the worst human being in the world, which by all accounts he's not. I don't think this is like a happiness thing. Danny Valencia only projected for 1% ownership on FanDuel and 2% on DK. I've got him like high double digits. I really like Valencia at his price point, especially with the dual eligibility on DK. That's my guy that's like not owned that I have a lot of.
Yeah. That's fine with me. I know he had been crushing for a while. Like he was the top on the average exit velocity for the last 30 days when I checked maybe a couple weeks ago. I don't know if he's still hitting like that because I don't play many Orioles, so I don't pay attention. But yeah.
Big fan of T. McBee's analogy there.
TMCB?
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
That's outstanding. And absolutely correct. There's no spotlight to share in baseball. Padres and Cubs. I'm excited for this one. 3.4 run implied total for the Padres, 4.6 for the Cubs. It's a 63% chance to win for the Cubbies. Robbie Erlin going for San Diego. Mike Montgomery going for Chicago. Erlin projected to be pretty chalky, 16% ownership. He's sort of like the alternative to Vargas. I've got half of that, so I'm not totally getting there, mostly because the Cubs kind of scare me offensively. 8% expected ownership for Mike Montgomery on DraftKings. I got 26. Talk to me about Mike Montgomery and why I'm either a genius or not so much of a genius.
It's fine. He's like an okay pitcher. He's like a kind of a long reliever. Don't expect him to go super deep, but he has been starting at least a few times as of late. Oh, he won 97 pitches in his last start? Wow. So, okay. maybe he can go deeper than I expected. Just 5 innings. They're probably not wanting him to go much longer than that. 7K against the Padres at home with the wind blowing in. That's the case for Montgomery. And he's not going to be overly chalky. The Padres do strike out a bunch against righties, against lefties. And I like that ownership. So I'm fine with the Montgomery play. He's good at limiting hard contact as well, which I like to see.
Yeah, I might actually knock him back a little bit. Just looking at game logs. I mean, he's been going either 5 innings or 6 innings in basically every start.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes out for the 6th, he pitches the 6th. It's basically the only way that it works for him.
Yeah.
His game logs: 5, 6, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. No hooks whatsoever. So I'm gonna just dial that back slightly. But if things are going well, and it's the Padres offense, so there's no reason why it shouldn't. It is a lot of righties, but it's also not a lot of good righties.
I like Will Myers.
And they strike out a ton against left-handed pitching. So I guess that's why I'm all over Montgomery.
I like a few of these Padres, maybe not as a stack, but more as one-offs. Myers, Renfroe, Villanueva, just power guys. I think they could get Montgomery for a homer.
Sure. I wouldn't disagree there at all. It wouldn't shock me at all if Myers put one in the cheap seats, Renfroe put one in the cheap seats, Villanueva, Perella.
Big power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting to be double-ish the field on Montgomery if he stays around that number, and that's fine for me. I need some sort of pitcher that's like my stance. I'm fine with that. Especially at 7K. Can't totally kill me if it goes poorly, which I like. Right. I have a lot of Cubs bats on FanDuel, but otherwise I don't see this as much of an offense game. Has that total come out yet? Because that could change everything. It has 8-ish.
8.5.
Heavy juice on the under. So it's more like 8 point.
I'm seeing 8.6.
Yeah, that's
wrong?
way too. Yeah, so it's the line at Pinnacle is 8.5, and the 8.5 under is -126, which is more like 8.2. So I had 8 runs in there. That's an extra 0.2 of a run. Not going to change my Montgomery outlook at all, and it'll make me like the Cubs bats just a hair more.
Yeah.
But kind of just an uneventful game. Wind blowing in, I believe. Yeah, 10-mile-an-hour wind for Chicago blowing in as of right now. Temperature only 75 degrees, so it's not like it's crazy hitting weather. I prefer to be on the Mike Montgomery side of this.
How about Cubs bats? Or you said you do like Erlin?
So no,
Okay.
16% on DK. I have 8. Not really a spot for me. I didn't get to the Cubs at all on DraftKings. Pretty expensive. It's not really the best spot. Really, I don't see anybody that naturally stands out outside of, I don't know, who would I want? Baez, I guess, probably. He's 5,800, so that's a lot to spend. I mean, $1,800 more expensive than he is on FanDuel. I like the Cubs bats on FanDuel. They're cheaper. I'll have a little bit of Rizzo. I'll have a little bit of Addison Russell, just because of their price points or where they're at in the lineup. Just not really that. They're more of a secondary stack at best for me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like Contreras, Almora, Baez. I think this lineup doesn't look that great without Chris Bryant. If Chris Bryant was in here, it would look a ton better. But or if Bodie was hitting up higher in the order, I would like that a lot. But hitting 9th, I don't know that I can play him for 3,700 very much. I don't think Erlin's very good, so I would like to target some Cubs bats, but just not the best looking lineup.
I'm with you. Moving on. Brewers and Dodgers. Brewers, 3-run implied total. Dodgers, 4.3. The 65% chance to win for the Dodgers. Julius Chassin going for Milwaukee. Clayton Kershaw going for LA. I'm a little different here. 18% projected ownership for Kershaw and DK. I've got 28. and I've got double the ownership on FanDuel right now. I really like the idea of having Kershaw here. I think I don't want to say that he's back, but he has me feeling a lot better after his last start compared to where he was previously. So I like having a lot of Kershaw, especially if he's not going to be crazy owned. I'm prioritizing Kershaw over someone we're going to get to next, i.e. Zach Greinke. I know that you're going the other direction. So What are you thinking about here for Kershaw?
I get the Kershaw play a lot. I thought he was going to be a little bit more chalky than this. But if they're going to be around the same ownership, Greinke and Kershaw, you can make a case for either one. I think I prefer Greinke still. Kershaw, this lineup for the Brewers is tough, right? You've got Scope in there, Aguilar, Lorenzo Cain, Braun, Hernan Perez is not great against lefties, but he's at least okay. And then Yelich and Moustakas can hit lefties as well. So it's just not an easy lineup. I know Kershaw looked good, but I think people are just going to jump back on and say, we got vintage Kershaw back, and I'm not there yet. So that's why I prefer Greinke. I think Greinke is at or near the top of his game, and I'm not sure Kershaw is. And I think you're paying for vintage Kershaw here.
Making me nervous. Brewers are so bad against lefties this year, but
I know, but you add Scope, you get Braun back.
Yeah.
It's tough, man.
I don't like that Moose Tacos is on the Brewers now.
I know.
That's going to trip me up a lot. Just because I'm so used to him being on the Royals. He's been on the Royals for, 10 years?
Seems like it.
It honestly might be 10 years. 2011. No. 8 years. Look, I'm loading up on Kershaw. I don't feel bad about it.
No, I don't. I'm not trying to scare you off of Kershaw. I think he's a fine play.
So I have him significantly ahead of Greinke tonight.
I have Greinke quite a bit ahead of Kershaw.
All right. Drawing our lines in the sand here. Kershaw grades out as a 35% chance of being a top 2 scoring pitcher for me on DK. Greinke is 20. So there's a big gap there. I see Greinke more in the Fulte mold today than I do the Kershaw mold.
Okay.
I think it's really scary that Greinke's projected to be owned. Basically, I'm taking any ownership that would have went to Greinke and putting it to Kershaw.
Okay.
I have 1% Greinke, so get ready for that
Wow.
hot take. Yeah.
Wow.
I just hope that breaks well for me. What do
We
you think
don't
of
know.
Dodgers bats?
Against Chassin, the lefties, it's another good spot for the Dodgers. They came alive a little bit last night, Grandal especially. So he'll be somewhat popular just because of recency bias, and it's a good spot. At Dozier in that lineup, I'm prioritizing the lefties against Chassin. I'm expecting the Dodgers to be one of the chalkier stacks, but according to our ownership projections, they are not going to be. So again, another team in what I think is a good spot. The Dodgers are a top 3 stack for me for sure. And looking at these ownerships, especially if they get Justin Turner back, hopefully that doesn't take Muncy out of the lineup. That's the only problem. But either way, Muncy or Turner in there.
Well, if you don't have Muncy, how bad is it really?
I mean, he is a good bat.
No, he is. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it would be Muncy that comes out probably. So that kind of sucks. But it's a pretty good trade-off, I think. 3,700 for Turner if he's back.
Machado, third base eligible on FanDuel, shortstop eligibility on DK. Pay attention to that just in case you're curious. Dodgers are my number 5 stack on FanDuel. I'm double the field there. They're 8th for me on DK, just a notch above what we're projecting. So really like being on the Dodgers there. Most of that FanDuel exposure is going to Jock leading off, and then to Justin Turner. Those are 2 guys that I have an absolute ton of. That the lack of Machado's shortstop eligibility on FanDuel is a real pain in the ass if Justin Turner is back. You're not going to pay the $4,200 for Machado if Justin Turner's $1,200 cheaper. So
It's pretty tough. Yeah.
it really is. I love this Dodgers lineup now. I really like the moves they made to get Machado, to get Dozier. Real scary lineup moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not messing with it. Not going with Chassin. He's way overpriced. 8K.
Now he's not rosterable.
Yeah, even if he has a good game here and shuts him down, he's still a bad play. That is a.
I mean, even if he's really good today, like really good, it won't even affect tournaments.
It shouldn't,
because he won't be owned.
Yeah. Why do the Dodgers only have a 4.1 run total? What are we missing? Are we missing something? It's 85 wind blowing out a little bit. Chassin's been okay. Like, he's been good. But is it the Brewers bullpen?
Can't be, can it?
Well, they've got really good bullpen arms up top. Chassin has been good, yeah, but
all right.
So if you're playing the Dodgers, I wouldn't worry about that because you want your stack to be going off, them getting 5 or 6 runs in the first couple innings, and then you're not going to if it's 5-6-0 or 6-2 or something, they're not bringing in Hader in the fourth.
No. Yeah, I love the Dodgers here. I don't entirely get it. Look, they're expensive on DK. I don't really love their price point, but I'm still getting them in like at least average amounts of the lineups. I do agree though that implied total does seem lower than I would have expected, and I don't really know why. Everyone in the Dodgers lineup projects as a better than average hitter via Steamer. Except for Kershaw. Yeah, look, I'm going to have a lot of Dodgers. I'd be happy to be different there, especially on FanDuel. No, I don't have any respect for Chassin. So.
Yeah, neither do I. I'm certainly not playing him here.
All right, we'll get to your pitcher now. Giants and Diamondbacks. Giants, 3.3 run implied total. D-backs 4.2. 61% chance to win for the Diamondbacks. Madison Bumgarner going for San Francisco. Zach Greinke going for Arizona. I've made my stance at this point. I have 1% Greinke on FanDuel, 1% Greinke on DraftKings. We're projecting double digits, both in the teens. I'm not getting to Bumgarner at all. Doesn't really feel like a good spot for him, especially at that price point. So the floor is yours. Give the Greinke pitch.
Greinke he just looks really good to me. Chase rate is very good. Swinging strike rate is solid. And then the Giants have been pretty bad against righties this year. 143 ISO, well below 100 WRC plus. Greinke's been good at limiting base runners, striking guys out over 27%, and then he's going to see striking righties out over 27%. And he's going to see 6 of them tonight, including Bumgarner. I know Bumgarner is a good hitter for a pitcher, but still not a bat that I'm shaking in my boots to go against. So I just think it's a really, really good spot for Greinke, and I think I have him projected for quite a few more points than Kershaw. So for $400 cheaper, sign me up for some Zach Greinke.
You have Greinke ahead of Kershaw by like a lot of points?
Let's see. No, like a few points, 3 points.
Sure. I have the opposite. I've got
okay.
Kershaw at 22.2, Greinke at 18.5.
Yeah, I've got it basically flipped. 22.4 for Greinke, 19.4 for Kershaw.
Do we have rankings out yet? No. I was gonna say, who's the tie? We need the Alex Baker tiebreaker.
Right. I don't know who we would be on here. Honestly, they're pretty similar plays, in my opinion. But I just think Greinke he looks awesome to me, whereas Kershaw a little bit shaky.
Oh man, I'm so nervous. I like that I've made a decision and that I've got a lot of Kershaw. I don't have a lot of Greinke. I like not being like wishy-washy about it, but now I'm just nervous that Greinke's going to spin a gem. My only benefit is that game's in Arizona.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. Greinke likes pitching at home. Like, he's been vocal about that in the past, about how, like, he's had, like, anxiety issues and stuff, and he's been better at home. So, I don't know. There's probably something to that when he's putting voice to it. So,
this is a really tough strikeout matchup for Greinke.
is it?
Like, again, I'm not talking about handedness in this case, but like Posey doesn't K, McCutchen, Crawford, Longoria, all either at average or better than that. Hundley, Duggar, Gorky strike out a ton. Panic basically doesn't ever. So like, it's all going to be about how many times he puts down Hundley, Duggar, and Gorky's.
So against righties this year, Panic, Posey, I'm not expecting him to strike out.
Yeah.
Everyone else is 20.7% or higher. Got Crawford at 20.7, McCutchen 21.7, Longoria 25.3, Hundley almost 30, Duggar 34, Yorkie's 25, and I don't have Bumgarner, but I'm assuming it's well over 20.
Yeah, that'll be a safe bet.
So.
Okay. We will
Yeah,
be
you're not on
different
Bum.
here tonight.
You're not on Bum.
I didn't hear what'd you say?
You're not on Bumgarner. I'm
No.
not. I'm on Diamondbacks bats.
I'm not on Diamondbacks bats at all.
Ooh, no Pollock and Goldschmidt?
0.
Oh my God, I love
1%
those two.
Goldschmidt. 0% everyone else.
Pollock, Goldschmidt. I'll have some Steven Souza and Kettle Marte. I mean, I'm not crazy about Ahmed betting 6th or Mathis in the 8th spot, but those guys may sneak into some lineups if I full stack. Because people just don't full stack against Bumgarner. I think it's sometimes a mistake when you get a righty-heavy lineup, especially with some lefty mashers in there like Goldschmidt and Pollock. I almost just combine the names. Golick. Yeah, I love those two guys, and Escobar is fine for me, and then the Kettle Marte down in the lineup as well.
Yeah, no Diamondbacks for me. This one's for Andres Alvarez. I will not have them quite a bit, just to let you know. I will have them no amount of bits as of right now. Only team that I'm getting here in this actually is a little bit of Giants on DK. I have no idea why, but I'm with the field at 4%. It's a sea of red. I don't know how I'm getting there outside of the fact that they're just priced in a way that it makes it work. They're all super cheap, low 3s for catchers. You can even use Nick Hundley at 2,800. Cheap shortstop, cheap third baseman. Like, I guess they're a decent value play, but it's a minimal amount, only 4% aggregate, same as the field. As far as I'm concerned, I want this game to stay quiet. I'll take home runs from like Panic and Gorky's, and I need events that happen for guys that nobody cares about.
Here's to a Greinke perfect game.
Go Giants bats. Lots of homers from Steven Duggar.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah, I don't think there's been lots of homers for Steven Duggar game in a couple years for him. Not that kind of guy. 103 projected ISO. That's pretty light in the stick.
Not good.
I just don't like Bumgarner's price if we're circling back, just to circle back to that quickly. 9,500 on FanDuel, 9,600 on DK. Like, I would just much rather pay $1,100 less and have Pivetta.
I've just got the Diamondbacks being a good team against lefties, and then those two especially. So,
like, I have Pivetta
I
2.3 points projected higher than Bumgarner at $1,000 less. So, really that easy for me. Bumgarner just doesn't grade out well here.
Fair enough.
He's probably not the worst, like, GPP, like, big GPP pitcher, but I don't think it's going to matter to have him.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just not playing him. He comes up really low for me.
Alrighty.
You see, we got a Blue Jays pitcher here.
Is it not Garcia?
No,
Who is it?
Sean Reed Foley. But there's no way he started yesterday. I just looked him up. He literally started in AAA yesterday and threw 110 pitches.
Yeah, it's not going to be him.
So I don't know what the site
I'm going
is
to go with
thinking.
Fangraphs Jaime Garcia. But
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I also don't think it's going to matter. It's not Roy Halladay.
Jeez.
This is the best I could do. Oh, man. All right, so we're going to talk about this, but as of right now, I have no idea who really is going to be the Blue Jays starter. I had Stroman earlier today because Fangraphs had an error. Fangraphs lineup page or matchup page is listing Jaime Garcia. Another site right now, as Jake just mentioned, is listing Sean Reed Foley, who is absolutely not pitching today.
He literally threw 110 last night.
Right. So take this with a grain of salt, but it's not really going to matter. It's not like the Blue Jays are going to bring in someone that's really good. So it's not going to change the output of what we've got here. Blue Jays, potentially a 4-run implied total. Mariners, potentially a 4.5 run implied total. There's not a line on this because, okay, Calvin Nelson saying, I'm seeing Luis Santos.
I saw that too last night, and I saw Jaime, and then I have no idea.
None of it matters. Honestly, none of it matters. It's fill in the blank for the Blue Jays against Felix Hernandez for Seattle. Ooh, I don't even feel comfortable saying this out loud. Projecting Felix Hernandez on DK for 33% ownership. I've got 33% ownership for Felix Hernandez. Right on the dot. Talk to me about Felix, because it's basically the only thing we know about here.
Yeah, he's much better at home. I don't know what it is, but his strikeout rate goes up at home. He's actually striking out more lefties than righties, so maybe not that advantageous of a lineup, but it just seems like he has a lot of these good starts when he's pitching at home in that great park, 65 degrees. I don't know. This Blue Jays team doesn't really scare me against righties, so a lot of high K rates. Martin, Granderson, Teoscar, Grichuk. I don't know. It just seems like Felix should be able to have a quality start here. And he's 6,100.
Yeah, everybody.
I don't like 33%, but yeah.
Neither do I. Everybody in that price range. So from Gallardo at 62 down to, I don't know, really wherever you want to go. I have, like, Felix grades out so much better than everybody else. I'm not totally comfortable at 33% either if he's also owned at 33%. I would have been a lot happier like if he was 17 and I was double the field. But I'm going to have him because of that price point. 6,100 is just a really easy spot to slot him in. And I don't have any of the bats here. No more than 1% aggregate on any of these teams. No more than 3% on any individual player. That's Kyle Seager on FanDuel. So it's really not going to matter who the Blue Jays pop in there as the starter. Bats aren't a thing that I'm focusing on here. All I really want is Felix.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the Toronto bats, but if Felix is going to be owned, you can make a case to go to some of these lefties, I guess. It's just such a bad park, though. So I don't even know if I want to say that, but I don't know. 33% ownership is kind of crazy. I was expecting more like 15, 20.
I like the idea of having a couple Blue Jays stacks as a hedge against this. They grade out pretty well. I don't see much difference. This is going to be a crazy thing to say. Relative to price and projections, I don't see much difference in the overall Blue Jays outlook compared to either like the Dodgers or the Braves. And I've got them a lot and almost no Jays. So I will probably force in a little bit more Blue Jays stacks to take advantage of Felix's ownership.
Yeah, I don't have the Blue Jays anywhere close to those two, but I get it. Like, it's not like they don't have a few good hitters in here. Like, this is a better lineup than Baltimore, and you're going to get them for what, a fifth of the ownership in total. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I like them as a hedge, but I can't go to any sort of volume. It's all Felix, which scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
You know what time it is?
Crunch time.
Crunch time. Give me 2. Oh, feels good to do this again.
Let's try Pavetta. No. Let's try Scherzer Vargas.
Okay. This is going to be eye-opening, I would imagine. Scherzer Vargas. I already sorted. I am. Yeah, that's why Scherzer Vargas looks great. There's the 5-man Orioles stack. Gleyber Torres, Giancarlo Stanton, Joey Gallo. What more do you want to fill in? You're getting arguably one of the most popular stacks, along with as good of a one-off at second base, outfield, and outfield that you can get. There's the Ranger stack that goes with it. I like going here, and this is what we were sort of talking about before. Scherzer Vargas, 5-man Red Sox. Not the best version of a Red Sox stack, but you're also still able to get to a part of that Orioles game and a Stanton one-off. If you wanted to drop down off of that Stanton one-off to try and get a better version of Brock Holt, I think that's a way to make the Red Sox lineup a little bit better. But if you can get to these high-priced teams, or they're like a Yankees stack with Scherzer and Vargas, that's why Vargas becomes popular, because you can get to expensive bats as well. I love this lineup right here. This is why I had so much Ahmed Rosario and Wilmer Flores.
Yeah.
Because it allows me to get Steve Pearce and Gleyber Torres and Stanton and Hicks and Gardner. You just load up.
Right. So I would be doing this Scherzer Lopez or something like that. Or Scherzer Felix I'd rather have than Vargas, I think, but I get it.
Yeah, I've got 7 Scherzer Felix lines. There's my Wilmer Flores Ahmed Rosario combo with, again, a 5-man Yanks. It's just it's so easy.
Stacks from the Texas game, though, that just kind of naturally gives you that. I think most optimizers are going to get you that because of that high total.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's look at something. A little off the beaten path.
Pavetta and Lopez or Felix or Montgomery.
Let's take a look at Montgomery. So Pavetta Montgomery is a combo that I have 8 times. I can get an awesome 5-man Ranger stack. Yeah. Trumbo, Valencia, against Stanton as a one-off. I absolutely love it. Oh, man, you can just... Because of pricing today, it's really easy to fit in things like high-level bats. Pavetta Montgomery and a Red Sox stack. Even with Benintendi.
God, I just can't get over the Orioles and the Rangers being chalk. I know the weather is fantastic. I know there's 2 pitchers that we don't like on the mound, but it's just such an easy spot for me to fade if we're going to see that kind of ownership, or at least go way underweight on.
And that's what excites me too. Yankee stack, Red Sox stack, Dodger stack.
Yeah, that's more my speed.
Yeah, I'm gonna fill in with Orioles and Rangers. Obviously, you have to in a way because of their pricing, but it's really easy to get to other sets of teams.
Yeah.
Let me look at my team stacks tab quick. So yeah, here's a ton of just Yankees 5-man stacks. Scherzer Felix, Scherzer Vargas, Pavetta Felix, Kershaw Felix. You're still getting, nut pitching along with expensive high-end bats. Or even the Nats 5-mans. Still can get to Scherzer. Ooh, there's an interesting one. Mike Montgomery, Jason Vargas. Ooh. Man, if that goes well, I like those bats.
Matt Stanton, yeah. Love that.
Right. If you're going to have a GPP bat, Gallo and Odor, those are the guys. All right, FanDuel people, here it comes.
Oh, God. We're doing this.
It's just so not fun.
Early Dong call. I'll get you one here, Earl. Let me get you an early Dong call here. The early's super uninteresting to me. I could barely talk about it on the night shift. I think all the ownership's going to come from a few teams. I think if there's one team I might avoid, it would be the Angels, just because they're going to see a lot of bullpen arms. They're going to be able to get the right platoon splits. I haven't even looked at ownership yet. I'm just assuming the White Sox have crazy ownership, and probably the Cardinals as well.
Look at the first lineup on my screen right now with Scherzer.
Full game stack.
Yeah. They're like, what do you do? Wow, this is why I don't like looking at FanDuel, because I just did a full game stack of the chalk game with the gigantic run totals and the best pitcher on the entire slate. That's how you get the Rangers at 20-something% aggregate ownership. There's not even a part of this stat. Like, ridiculous. I love that lineup.
That's ridiculous.
Like, if we weren't paying attention to ownership projections, and I was like, this is what I got here, I couldn't build a better lineup than this. There's no one I would change.
Could just go 150 and have full game stacks.
It's so insane. Literally. It's so insane. So yeah, that's why it's not that interesting to do this. Like, I can't even imagine, what do I get if I go to a different pitcher? What do I get if I go to Pivetta? Oh, instead of using the Orioles, I'll use Matt Adams, Rendon, Turner, and Harper with amazing bats from the Rangers. Or Betts and Martinez and Nunez and Pierce. It's just comical what you can do with hitting on FanDuel. 400 people are going to have that exact lineup. Yeah, you're probably honestly,
right. There's like no appeal to playing FanDuel for me tonight when the pricing's going to be like that for a game with an 11 total or whatever it was.
Yeah, it makes me happy to be nowhere near that Rangers exposure.
My golf lineups are starting off hot.
Are they? There you go.
Wow.
Wait 10 minutes.
Yeah. Honestly.
Still no golf for
zero. Me. I'm just trying to play it just so I have a reason to pay attention, because I really want to get better at golf.
So do I.
There's a lot of money in it, and there's a lot of good golf content too, I think, around the industry. So
particularly at Awesemo.com. Check out Nolan Kelly's The Approach.
Yeah, we've got ownership projections too. So I use those when building lineups. I'm like, I'm going to be overweight on this guy, underweight on this guy. So that's how I build lineups, not even selling anything. That's just how I do it.
Earl Fountain, FanDuel time. Yeah, FanDuel time's already over.
We just did FanDuel, Earl.
Yep. I don't know how big the delay is.
I mean, he might have just like paused it for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
In mine. Early Dong call.
I don't even know who plays. So if you've got any early thoughts, it's all you.
Yeah, no, I went through a little bit, but Charlie Blackmon against Miles Michaelis. There it is.
Going back to T. McBee asking what's in my 1% Greinke lines. Those are the two lineups that I have with Greinke. A 5-man Braves stack or a 5-man Red Sox stack. Vargas in one, Felix Hernandez in the other.
You mean that Braves stack against Chalk Jason Vargas? We had Chalk Luke Weaver yesterday. Chalk Jason Vargas. We got Chalk Felix Hernandez. Even though I kind of like Felix. It should be Chalk Pablo Lopez day, but you know, not everyone's that sharp, right?
I like it. One last question then, again from T. McBee. Who's the next best similarly priced stack to O's and Rangers?
Similarly priced?
Let's see. Well, the O's are super cheap even compared to the Rangers, so I would say probably the Dodgers for me. It's
Are
a
they
pretty
similarly
big
priced?
step down.
Yeah.
That I was looking for more price than anything. So like the Orioles are 33,000 total on DraftKings. Dodgers are also 33,000. Like the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Nats are all significantly more than the Orioles. The Rangers are at 37.7. So like the Nats are, I think, a perfect alternative to the Rangers. But for the Orioles, it's a pretty big gap for me, and I would go to either the Dodgers or the Braves in that scenario.
Yeah, there's not someone that's a clear pivot for me. So you're just getting a completely different lineup if you're fading that game.
Agreed.
Which I like, and you're getting away from Scherzer and most of the expensive guys for the most part.
I'm with you. Are we done?
I think so.
Good to be back, everybody. Quick hits will be out early in the afternoon. I'm excited to do that again. Live stream tonight. Myself and Chris Spags, Jake getting the night off, recovering from me, which I greatly appreciate.
Anytime.
Yeah. Check out Spotlight Hitters, Pitchers, Stacks. Do we have anything else we need to plug?
Daily game plan will be out. Check your spam folders or your junk folders. It sometimes goes there. You kind of have to unmark it. So that comes out around 12 Eastern, 1 Eastern, somewhere in there.
I played my first 2 games of Fortnite last night.
First 2?
Yeah.
Did you win?
No. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even think I've shot my gun at a person yet.
I got like 1 kill once, got 3rd. Couldn't find anyone for the longest time. Got 1 super lucky kill. And all my friends were around. We were like about to go to the bar. We were just messing around, and it was pretty sick. The build up when you get into like the top 10 is pretty fun. That's all I can say about the game. I would never like play it by myself. I don't think it's just not my game. But
the wife heading to Philadelphia Friday morning, then has some work trip in Boston at the tail end of that. So Friday to Tuesday is an empty house for me.
You're gonna get acquainted to some Fortnite.
I think it's about that time. My 10-year-old godson, or maybe he's 11 now, I have no idea. Honestly, age, I think he's 11. He was playing while I was home, and just watching him play and be able to do stuff, I was like, oh, cool. I'm worse at video games than an 11-year-old now.
Yeah.
He's talking, and he's just looking at me, and I was like, I used to be you. Don't give me that look. All right, that's it, everybody. Best of luck tonight. Check out all the rest of the content that's going to trickle out through the day. Follow us on Twitter, Awesemo_com. Follow us and subscribe on YouTube. And come tune into the live stream tonight at 6. We'll have a ton to talk about. 9-game slate, weather on the docket, and all the information that I'm going to give you that's going to put me at the top of a tournament. So, best of luck, everybody.